My bad, guys. What's really good? What's really good? What's really good? Welcome back to another Wednesday night with the Sanchez Show. As always, I'm your host, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. We go live every Wednesday night on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. My brothers Will Gordon and Trip Young will be joining us shortly. We're only going for about an hour tonight. It's Thanksgiving Eve. Hope everybody is enjoying their day. Hope everybody's prepared for tomorrow. Hope you're spending time with family. Hope you're going to kick back and enjoy the games. Or if you're a Stranger Things fan, you're probably binge watching tonight. Either way, I hope you're enjoying your night. Like I said, we're going to go for about an hour tonight. Shout out to everybody on Instagram as well. Shoot us a like, shoot us a comment. Make sure you follow. Make sure you subscribe. Before we get started, I want to send out thoughts and prayers. I'm down here in Southern Maryland, just outside of D.C. I've talked about it many times. There was an incident that took place a few hours ago in D.C. where someone lost their life. And so thoughts and prayers go out to the family. We don't know the details. We do know 2 National Guard officers were randomly attacked and shot at. The early reports are that one has lost their life. So I do want to send out condolences to the family. Now let's get to some things that we got going on tonight. It is week 13 of the NFL season. We got NBA Cup going on. I got Boston and Detroit in the background. It's coming down to the final possession. 17 seconds left. Detroit with the ball with an opportunity to take the lead. We're going to get into these questions and comments. We're going to get into the picks as we always do. Let me put my picks across the bottom of the screen because last week I had a very good week. So if you're not tuned in, if you're not locked in, make sure you get familiar. Last week, 9-4-1 against the spread. Primetime games, we were really good. We were good on Thursday night. We had the Texans +6. They end up winning outright. We had the Rams +7 on Sunday night. They covered that, obviously. I mean, -7, they covered that. I did have the Panthers +7 on Monday night. Bryce Young just, obviously, he didn't want to help out there. Bryce Young did not want to show up. He looked disgusting in that game. And I think one of the things we talked about before that game was, could the Panthers threaten for the division? After that performance, I have no trust in anybody in that division other than the Buccaneers. Trip, once you're ready, bro, give me a thumbs up. Okay, get yourself situated there. But in terms of the picks last week, we had a great week. What did we have last week? We had the Chicago Bears -2.5. They covered. We had the Colts +3.5. They lost in overtime. We had the Ravens cover. We had the Packers cover. Obviously mentioned the Rams. Dallas was probably our big one from last week. We love Dallas getting 3.5 last week. We like them this week, and I know we're going to get into that game as well. But Dallas, 9-4 overall. Trip Young had the best week out of all 3 of us. Straight up last week, Trip was 12-2. We're going to bring him on to the podcast. I mean, what better way to introduce my brother than to highlight how he did last week? 12-2, Trip. How you feeling?
Well, 12-2. Who didn't win on mine?
So it's crazy. You had Buffalo for the Thursday night game.
And they should have won that one.
I was about to say, remember, they were down at the 10-yard line with a chance to win the game.
Yeah.
You had your other loss what was your other one? Hold on. Oh, Saints.
The Saints won last week?
No, the Saints lost. You had them going against the Falcons.
Oh,
you picked the Saints, yeah.
Falcons. Okay.
And listen, I can't even be mad that you picked the Saints. I also had the Saints last week.
Because it was in New Orleans.
They were at home. Obviously, no Drake London. You had Kirk Cousins playing, and somehow the Saints just, as I love to say, shit the bed. Yeah. So there's that. But my brother, how are you doing tonight?
Man, I cannot complain. I just left my students not too long ago. We filmed a little movie, so I'm having a good time. But I am ready for these next couple of days off.
I completely understand that. Shout out to the kids. Hope they're enjoying their Thanksgiving break. Shout out to Trip, obviously, on Thanksgiving break. We're only going for an hour tonight because, like I said, it's Thanksgiving Eve. So I know we got people's attention for a little bit of time as they preparing the food for tomorrow, as they getting everything situated. So we go for about an hour. In the background, I got Boston and Detroit right now. It's just 9.9 seconds left. Boston looking to go up 3 right now. And what's been a really good game. Detroit's 13-game winning streak is on the line. But let's go ahead and get to the questions and comments, man. Like I said, whenever.
Oh, right now, that's crazy.
Say that again.
They won 12 straight.
Jeez. Yeah, Detroit
boys.
Yeah, Detroit's been hot. Like I said, 9.9 left. They're down 3. Detroit just got the ball back. So let's see if they go for the tie with the 3 or if they go for a quick 2 and try to extend the game. But let's get to the questions. Like I said, we're only live for about an hour. Reminder, guys, make sure you are subscribed not only to the Sanchez Show, but Real Fans Real Talk. We'll be back on Monday with Real Fans Real Talk. 7 p.m. as we give you the recap of Week 13 in the NFL, as well as anything that took place over the weekend in the NBA and any other sporting news as well. We're going to start off with some NBA stuff, and then we'll get to the NFL because obviously we know we closed out strong with NFL. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest stories of the week, Trip, Chris Paul retires. All right. Shout out to Ron. He says,
but it's not to the end of the season, though.
Yeah. He's saying it's going to be his last season.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ron. He said, announces his retirement after the season. What's your thoughts on his overall career, where he ranks in point guards, best point guards ever? Go ahead, Trip.
Well, first of all, congratulations to Chris Paul on a great career. When I first, because the way they said it, I'm like, wait a minute, he's retiring right now? Like,
right.
He just started. But then I realized it was at the end of the season. But as far as his ranking all time, I mean, you could make the case for top 5. If you did, it would probably be at 5, though, if you did make that case. But definitely not outside of the top 10 all-time point guards. He's got everything you want on your resume with the exception of a championship. And again, I'm not going to penalize him for not having a championship as far as where I rank him at as a point guard, because again, championship is a team accomplishment. You can't win a championship by yourself. But if you're just looking at his resume, he's got the All-NBA appearances, he's got the All-Stars, he's got the playoff experience, he's got the Olympic experience. He was one of the top players in basketball, one of the most highly sought after point guards. I remember the Lakers trade that never happened. With Chris Paul's, he's been in his entire career, he's been top 3 during his run in the NBA. He's been top 3 point guard. So, first ballot Hall of Famer, I believe, hands down.
First ballot Hall of Famer. I completely agree with that. He's not a top 5 point guard, but I do think that for a long time the knock was, could you win with Chris Paul? When he helped Phoenix get to a finals, that kind of put to bed those rumors. Granted, they didn't win, but they were up 2-0 in those finals, and it took Giannis having a Hall of Fame type performance to beat Phoenix. So Chris Paul, to me, is a first ballot Hall of Famer and does land somewhere in the top 10. For me, top 5, I mean, we're talking Magic, we're talking Isaiah, we're talking Steph, we're talking John Stockton. I think that's easily the 4, and then Oscar Robertson. I think that's got to be the 5. Like that's the blueprint for the best 5 point guards of all time. After that is where it gets tricky. It's all about preference. I think Gary Payton, Jason Kidd were better point guards than Chris Paul in terms of player, like individual player. But in terms of actually running an offense, Chris Paul was probably better than both those guys, right? Gary Payton was the better defensive player. Chris Paul was no slouch, but Gary Payton, again, was a defensive player of the year, multiple time first team all defense. But in terms of running an offense, Chris Paul was better there. Jason Kidd is probably one of the true prototypes of a guy who can initiate offense, but Jason Kidd wasn't the threat that Chris Paul was offensively in their prime anyway. You look at, people forget Chris Paul at his peak was a guy as a point guard that could get you 20 and 12 every night as a point guard. And that's as a point guard who's 6 feet tall. Like, he was not one of these bigger point guards. Like I mentioned, Magic, when you mention, obviously, Oscar Robertson, these are bigger point guards. Chris Paul was a typical small, beneath the rim type point guard who rarely ever dunked, but yet could get you 20 and 12 every night at his peak. So I think he lands somewhere in the top 10, and it's about preference. Again, as the game transitioned and we got these super athletes like Russell Westbrook, yeah, Chris Paul was never that type of point guard. But in terms of running an offense, yeah, there's not too many guys who are better than Chris Paul at running an actual.
was a more of a scoring point guard, whereas Chris Paul was more of a facilitator, but he could put up points for you.
Right.
But I'm gonna run down a couple of these accolades: 12-time All-Star, 6-time Steals champ, 9-time All Defense. The NBA 75th anniversary team, 5-time assist champ, 11-time All NBA, and he was the Rookie of the Year and All-Star Game MVP.
Yeah.
That's why I said, if you want to, you could maybe make the argument that he's at 5, but I can't go past 10. Like if you come in and tell me that Chris Paul is not you, but I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
You come in and say Chris Paul is not in the top 10 of point guards, then you don't watch basketball, clearly.
Yeah, Chris Paul is easily, like I said, top 10. Now, I laid out the 5 that I feel are legitimately better than him as not only players, but just resume.
Yeah.
Again, you're talking Magic, you're talking Isaiah, you're talking Steph, you're talking Oscar Robertson, you're talking John Stockton. Those to me are the 5. Yeah. After that, and anywhere from 6 to 10 is where you can place Chris Paul. And like I said, if you want to say Chris Paul is better than John Stockton for the number 5 spot,
I'm gonna be honest with you. If we really break down Stockton's resume versus Chris Paul's resume, it's actually close, and it might even give the edge to Chris Paul, because John Stockton, 10-time All-Star, only 2-time steals champ, only 5-time All Defense. He does have the edge with he was the assist champ 9 times,
right,
in comparison to Chris Paul's 5, and he was 11 all-time All-NBA. Chris Paul's 10-time All-NBA. They both were All-Star Game MVP, and they both were on the 75th anniversary team.
I think, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, those two would be a great debate for who's at that number 5 spot. I think it's very, very close between those two guys, and that's why I say you can go either way. For me, I give the slight edge to Stockton, but I wouldn't be mad if somebody made the case for Chris Paul.
Here's the reason why I would give the edge to Chris Paul, because for the bulk of his tenure in the league, Chris Paul was the best player on his team. Yeah. Stockton had Malone, and even I love, this is why I love that we got to sit down with Anthony Mason, because one of the things that he told us in the interview in regards to those two, he said, together that was maybe the most unstoppable duo, but separate, you take one off the court, the other one off the court, then it's not the same.
Yes.
So
Will give me a thumbs up. Let me know when you're ready, man.
And that's another all-time great who was your running mate through your prime.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that as well. Like, I don't want to use that against John Stockton, because it's almost like we're penalizing a guy for your team drafting well, right? Yeah. Like, your team drafted well, and it's like, oh, well, that takes away. No, I don't think it takes away from John Stockton. And I see your point, because for most of Chris Paul's prime, he was the best player on all his teams. Even, you want to talk about Lob City, he was the best player there. New Orleans, he was the best player there, right? Stockton obviously was the complimentary guy, so there wasn't the need for him to.
So he went to Houston, maybe he wasn't the.
Once he got to Houston and Harden was there, he wasn't the best player on the team. Then at that point, Houston and Phoenix are situations.
15 years in already at that point.
Right. Houston and Phoenix are situations where he was the complimentary guy to the best player, right? Yes. Phoenix, Devin Booker was the best player. Paul comes in next to him. Houston, Harden was the guy. Will, give me a thumbs up. Let me know when you're ready, bro. But and I want to get Will's take on this. I know Will. I don't know if your screen froze, Will. So let me know.
Did he freeze? Because it looks like
he might have froze. He working on connection issues. All right, let's get to this one. Speaking of Chris Paul, there's a coach he's played for a long time. Kyrie wants to know. Shout out to Kyrie too. Kyrie be rocking with us on Mondays and Wednesdays, man. Shout out to Kyrie. Sure. Doc Rivers as a coach. Is he considered a top 15, top 20 coach of all time? He keeps getting jobs, but he has had some flameouts. Got the one title in Boston. Thoughts on Doc? Go ahead, Trip.
I was just trying to figure out who said he was top 15, top 20.
That's what I was, because to me, I'm like, I don't ever remember us having that type of conversation about Doc. But
yeah, I don't like when, where, how, why, what's going on? I mean, just off the top of the dome, if I got Phil Jackson at number 1. Clearly, I think there's no debate. Phil is my number 1 guy, right? But then you could really start breaking this thing down for my pops generation and generation before them. You got Red Auerbach, who's on the list. And I'm gonna come back to from when we started. Pat Riley, got a coach. We can go now to current day. Eric Spoelstra,
Yeah.
I believe, is a better coach. I honestly, I put Ime Duke ahead of Doc Rivers. Um, Greg Popovich is another one who's ahead of him. Steve Kerr, another one who's ahead of him. There's so many to really run down a list, but I don't think he would land in the top 20 once I actually
Yeah.
really broke this thing down. I probably got to put Ty Lue ahead of him. Because those
So
3-1 comebacks multiple times, I don't know if you could be in the top 20 with that on your resume.
so he's the only head coach to blow a 3-1 series lead 3 times. Um, the really, and it's sad, but we only talk about Doc Rivers in this way because he's got that one NBA Finals.
Yeah.
And outside of that, there isn't another defining moment of him as a head coach. Now, for me, I think there was one other guy that I think you didn't mention that I would easily put ahead of him, and that's Larry Brown. Larry Brown.
Yeah, Larry Brown, I would put ahead of him too.
Larry Brown went to 3 NBA Finals as a head coach. Obviously, one of the most recognizable ones is the 2000 with the Sixers, but he won with Detroit. Larry Brown, to me, was a better head coach, has always been a better head coach than Doc Rivers. We're going to bring Will Gordon in. Ill Will in the building, Mr. Unpopular Opinion himself. What's good, bro?
What do you do, baby?
I throw Jerry Sloan in there too.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think when you do, in terms of Doc, like I said, it's not just the flame outs. It's how many times, even when his teams have been favorites to win series and they didn't win series. Because you look at the years with the Clippers and Lob City, a lot of those times they had a top 5 team in the league and didn't even get out the second round of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're talking about a situation, in Philly. He was brought there to kind of get them over the hump. They lost in playoff series where they were favorites to win. So Doc Rivers, you take away those 2 runs with Boston, those 2 finals runs. Mm-hmm. I think every other playoff series has been a disappointment for them. So to me, Doc to me is a top 15. Yeah, top 15, top 20 coach is a stretch. Well, what you think on this though? Kyrie wants to know thoughts on Doc Rivers. Is he a top 15, top 20 coach all time?
Hell no.
Right.
Without hesitation.
Bill Russell was a better coach than.
I mean, yeah, we ran down a couple names just off the top of our head. Like, obviously Red Auerbach is one of the gold standards, but Greg Popovich, Pat Riley, Phil Jackson. That's probably the Mount Rushmore of coaches. Those 4.
I'll take Larry Brown.
I said Larry Brown. Yep.
Steve Kerr we had already.
Kerr,
Jerry Sloan.
Y'all ain't talk about Spo? Okay, Spo.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, we said Spoelstra.
Shit, Chuck Daly.
Oh yeah, we just said Chuck Daly.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Chuck. Casey Jones.
Casey Jones, Boston, yeah.
I'll be honest with you, Lenny Wilkins is a better coach than him.
Lenny. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 13 right there.
We're
already at 13.
And this is coaches. It's not like it's players. So I'd have to
like. Really, it's a ton. I ain't thought about.
These are the ones that, like I said, we just kind of like just shooting from the hip and saying, yo, we got to 13 pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't think he's top 20, bro. I don't think he's top 20, Kyrie.
Chauncey Billups.
Easy.
You can't speak about Chauncey.
Easy.
Too soon?
Cannot speak about Chauncey right now. Yeah, too soon.
All right.
Hey, speaking of Kyrie,
I put Mike Malone ahead of him too. Shoot.
Yeah, like how many in the league right now are better than him?
Well, we said I think Ime's a better head coach.
Oh yeah, we said Ime. We thought was a better coach.
If we talk about coaches that's just in the league right now, Ime is a better head coach. Who else? Obviously, we already said Spo. We said Kerr.
Oh, in Indiana.
Rick Carlisle. Yeah,
Carlisle.
Rick Carlisle's been to multiple NBA finals with different teams. He did it with Dallas and he's done it with Indiana.
Yep.
Yeah.
He won in Dallas, right?
He won in Dallas, yeah.
Won in 2014?
Yep. He won in Dallas. So, I mean, you're talking, we're already at 15.
That's what I'm saying. So it's just like, that's 15.
Ooh. I got a old school joint for you. Paul Westphal. And my man that coached Phoenix when Chuck was there. And he coached in Portland too. He coached in Portland teams that lost to. Actually, I'm thinking of two teams.
You're talking about Rick
Allen. Rick Allen is one,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'm thinking about another dude too.
Rick Allen's career would be different. People forget he helped Portland get to 2 finals, and he was the head coach of that Sacramento team that should have beat the Lakers.
Yeah.
What about Don Nelson? Exactly. We throwing Don Nelson ahead of him?
Don Nelson's ahead of him too.
Yeah, who was it? It was I can't remember who coached Phoenix when they lost to was that Westphal?
That was Westphal, yeah.
Okay.
That was Westphal, yeah.
It's another guy I'm thinking about too. I can see his face, but I cannot think of his name. He was ugly white dude with curly hair, like with the Caldy. I can't think. Damn, it's gonna bother me all night. Pause. I'm
Let's get to this one. Let's get to this one from Kyrie because he had a follow-up on that as well. Do y'all still feel Steve Kerr is an elite coach? He does weird shit like you need Kuminga, but he has an off game, then you don't play him, but play his white son Pozinski. Sometimes he irks me. Do y'all still feel Steve Kerr is an elite coach? I think he is.
Yeah, are you crazy? Hell yeah. What?
Yeah, how do you not?
Okay, hold on. Let's be clear, right? Coaches are going to go through cycles because just because I could coach until I'm 75, 80 years old, my players can't play at the same level that they played at. So sometimes you got to retool, sometimes you got to rebuild, and sometimes you got to blow the whole thing up and start completely from scratch. But that don't take away from who Steve Kerr is as a coach. How many times has Steve Kerr missed the playoffs?
2 times, I think.
And how many years has he been coaching?
And Kerr's been the head coach there, 12 years now?
Okay, so out of 12 years. And
mind you, don't forget that the 2 years they missed the playoffs, that was coming off that season when they lost Clay to injury and KD, and so they came into that next year, they were already shorthanded.
So that was my next question. Now, how many times has he had a full healthy roster and missed the playoffs?
Oh, never.
Come on, we're not gonna disrespect Steve Kerr like that. We're not gonna.
I think I'll be honest though. I think we've seen it in the comment section, whether it's Real Fans, Real Talk, whether it's here on the Sanchez Show. Fans and our supporters seem to have this infatuation with Kuminga, and they think like Kerr is holding Kuminga back. I don't view it that way. I think Kuminga's a good athlete. He's a good ball player, but what Steve Kerr's coaching for, what the Warriors are trying to do, they trying to compete for a championship. I don't know if Kuminga is that type of player that's making that type of impact for them. And that's maybe why Kerr has him in and out the lineup so much. Because Kerr's there every day. Kerr sees him. So if Kerr thinks like, the kid just ain't getting it today or it's not clicking, I'm going to play guys that I think will win some games. We're a championship level team. We're not looking to coddle somebody and hope that he gets better by the end of the season.
Did Kerr fight to keep Jordan Poole?
No.
We see what we're doing now, right?
And because people try to say the same thing about, he holding back James Wiseman. He not developing James Wiseman. Where James Wiseman at now?
Is he in the league still?
No.
Okay, so then next question.
Yeah, that's why I say to me he's elite because I'm gonna trust Steve Kerr and what he's doing with the guy than somebody saying, well, he should be playing this guy more.
I got 2 more coaches we left off the list.
Who that?
Rudy Tomjanovich.
Oh yeah, he not better than Rudy Tomjanovich.
Facts. And if you want to throw in Casey Jones in there too.
Yeah, we'll throw in Casey Jones.
And then Mike Dunleavy.
Mike Dunleavy is a good one too.
He just don't have the chips.
That's right. The only thing Doc got over him.
But he only got one. Good. It ain't like he got 5. You know what I'm saying?
but he went to 2. So shout out to Pooh. She got another question that we're gonna have at the end of the show, but I'm gonna put this one up now. It's basketball related. Have y'all seen Kaya and Anthony play? I watched him the last few days. He comes
Oh,
on
yeah.
the bench and is solid. He's a 2 or 3 year player. I love Melo. I love Melo is out of the way, but my messy ass wonder if Melo's still hitting Lala. Personally, I think Melo. Shout out to Poole. You know that's.
What the hell?
I ain't expect that from Pooh.
Listen, shout out to Poole, but I'm gonna say this. I think Melo. No disrespect to Lala. I see Melo's second baby mother. He on the big and better things, man. He on the big and better
Hey,
things.
I seen Melo before Lala. Like he
Melo's doing
okay.
very well for himself. Yeah,
He
Melo's
was
doing very
okay.
well for himself
Yeah.
out here.
Yeah.
All right. Don't get it twisted. Melo, you talking about Hall of Fame Melo walking the streets of New York right now at what, 41, 42 years old? He chilling. He doing
And
good.
the podcast popping.
The podcast is popping. He's on the scene. Like you said, he's sitting courtside at Knicks games. He's at Syracuse games. He got a lot of free time right now. I'm sure he's doing very well for himself out there. Let's
He
see
just
what
had your boy on there. He just had your boy Hot on there.
Yeah. I got to go back and see that one.
Yeah, it was all right.
Shout out to Ron. He says college basketball is now on TNT regularly, and it's been cool to see Chris Webber and Jalen Rose working together on the set. Remember, they didn't talk for years. Absolutely. I will say this year, and I think, Will, you and I mentioned it. If it wasn't last week, it was the week prior. The coverage of basketball this year has actually been really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Between NBA on NBC, Prime, like I said, college on TNT, ESPN, we're getting all these great different crews analyzing and covering the game. And to Ron's point, to see Webber and Jalen Rose together, I think that's been great as well.
And I think where we as consumers were going into the season as critics of how many different ways you have to be able, to be able to tune in the games, how many different services. That was our view of it going into it as consumers. But now what that has done has given opportunity and platforms for guys that didn't have that before when there were only 2 or 3 options. Now you got all these different options. It's giving all these guys that we wouldn't have heard from before and giving opportunities for them to cover the games. And that's what's making the NBA fresh. I think actually the different services that all the games are on now is actually saving the NBA at this point. Because without that, I don't know how interested I would be. I mean, there's still some good storylines in the NBA, but I'm telling you, before I was never checking for NBA games before Christmas. Like, I mean, I casually watch and check in, but now it's like, okay, who plays tonight? Who's on Peacock tonight? Because I watch it on, like, if this is going to be on NBC, I watch it on Peacock because they stream in 4K. So, like, who's going to be on the Prime game? Streams in 4K. You know what I mean? So every night I'm checking to see who's on, which streaming service I'm going to find it on. And the talent that these streaming services are hiring is really, they're really doing a great job of anchoring in these games, because a few of these games have been stinkers that they
I'm sure they're doing a great job when they finally bring us in. Then that's when I said great. They doing
a great job, for sure.
It's a good job right now.
And you know what? Especially, we all got our rooting interest, right? But they might as well go ahead and anytime we on, you might as well throw me up on that joint, because really, you know what I'm saying? You know who the Wizards play-by-play color analyst is? Color.
Drew, is it Drew?
It's Drew Damn Gooden. It's been Drew Gooden for like 8 years, or if not longer. Man, get me up in there, man.
Shout out to the Wiz. They got their win yesterday. Got their second win yesterday.
Yeah, because I bet against them.
Hey, who wants to know? Who wants to get our thoughts on Steph and his shoe company parting ways? Yeah, him and Under Armour. The contract was not renewed. Where should he go? I think he's going Nike. I think that's the obvious choice. He was on the court, paying homage to Kobe and his daughter. But I just think the obvious is Nike. What you think, though, Tripp?
I would say Nike, yeah. Just cause, I mean, as far as the bag that he'll be able to get. And again, this might be just me being old man Tripp on this one. I ain't really like Nike ain't really got the sneaker designers they used to have. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't really feeling too many of these cat sneakers. So from that standpoint, it's just like it is what it is. But he'll get a hell of a contract, and he'll probably wind up making this like a lifetime deal or some craziness like that. It's gonna be a nice contract wherever Steph goes to. But it'll probably be nice. But it's just like it may be. Is it too late in his career? Because one, Steph ain't really selling sneakers like that. No way. Now I don't know if that would have been different if he was with Nike or some other company, but he ain't really sold sneakers like that anyway. And I'm saying in comparison to, I don't compare nobody to MJ because that's just different. But compared to LeBron, Durant, Kyrie, who I believe are the top 3 shoe sellers amongst like active players. So it's not even close.
I mean, some of it has to do with just Under Armour. Obviously, if he was with Nike, the sales would look different, and that's why I think it's the most obvious to end your career strong with Nike. But Will, what do you think? Do you think it's Nike, or do you see somebody else kind of stepping in and getting the Steph Curry brand?
So this has layers to it, Pooh. So what's the GM that just got fired that traded Luka to
Nico Harris.
Nico Harris. Okay. Let me tell you how ridiculous Nico Harris has been in any position he's ever been in. I don't know if you guys might know this, but for the viewers, so Nico Harris used to be at Nike before he was a GM in the NBA.
Correct.
Nico Harris was in charge of the recruitment of Steph Curry to Nike.
Mm-hmm.
In that presentation, he called, first of all, he was calling him Seth, his brother's name instead of Steph. He's calling him Seth, the great value version. And then in the visuals for the presentation of bringing him on, where it was supposed to be visuals of they do the mock-ups and all. They brought in mock-ups for KD. In the pitch, this is the pitch. I'm trying to bring you on to Nike. I'm trying to sign you to a deal, and I'm gonna call you by your brother's name. And then in all the visual mock-ups, oops, these were for KD, not for you. This was the pitch that Nike gave Steph Curry. He will tell you, and there's been interviews you can find, the reason he didn't sign with Nike was the disrespect he felt in the pitch. He said he was all about Nike. All they needed to do was, kiss his, and the deal would have been done. And he fumbled that. Fast forward to what, and he signed with he signs with Under Armour, who's trash, who's always been trash. Under Armour's a brand for old white people, golfers and whatnot. And listen, Under Armour, Kevin Plank from the creator and whatever of Under Armour, he's a Maryland alum. That's why Maryland's an Under Armour school. That's right. Also why we can't get 5-star recruits. It's because dudes ain't trying. These youngest want that gear. And who's going to a school that's got I'm trying to get all that good Under Armour. Nobody said no young kid worth a damn was checking for some Under Armour. You know what I'm saying? Nobody. They looking for that Nike, or they, you know what I'm saying? They looking for that. Ain't nobody looking for that.
Because Under Armour is based in Maryland. I think it was just a natural connection for Maryland to go with them.
No, Kevin Plank's a Maryland alum. Like he's a graduate of mine. But I'm saying
the whole connection to the area just made sense for them.
Yeah.
But I mean, I do agree in terms of if you're a young kid going on a recruitment visit at Oregon, who got a whole Nike damn facility and they're giving you 6 pair of free Nikes every year. But if Maryland wanted to go that route, remember, if Maryland wanted to go that route, they could have, because Georgetown is a Jordan brand school. Mm-hmm. Maryland could have easily negotiated to try to get with Jordan brand. There are plenty of schools in this area that have Jordan brand ties.
But you got to also think about when they signed with Under Armour, was when the not to make this about Maryland, but that's when the program was under turmoil, and exactly why they left the ACC, because the athletic department was drowning. Kevin Plank helped save them with the Under Armour sponsorship, and that's why they left the ACC and joined the Big Ten, because they needed that football money. And that's when you saw the Maryland uniforms. Remember when Maryland came with all the different uniforms and the helmets and all that? That was all time.
Yeah, they tried to recreate what Oregon was doing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then no, what I was trying to say was, now Nico Harris gets fired, right? And the day Nico Harris gets fired is the same day Steph leaves Under Armour and is now a free agent. And he didn't have, and it wasn't about timing of the contract. It was more so, to me, I'm a conspiracy theorist, Mr. Unpopular Opinion. I'm gonna think that he's like, all right, so now that Nico got fired, I'm gonna throw it in his face, leave Under Armour, get that Nike bag that you should have got if you was on your P's and Q's before. I'm just saying.
I think that's a bit of a reach, bro. Because remember, Nico had to leave. He had to leave his position at Nike to go with the Mavs, and I think the bigger conspiracy is Nico getting fired from the Mavs, because they fired him with the thinking of, oh, this trade has gone bad, and look at all the backlash we got from fans. Y'all didn't know before the trade that there was going to be massive backlash that you traded Luka. Like you guys didn't have a sit down where you said, hey, let's weigh out our options and how does this work for our team, and then how does this hurt our team moving forward. And Nico to me became the scapegoat for everything that's wrong in Dallas right now. Whoever signed off on that trade should be the one to lose their job. Now, it's not going to happen that way, obviously, because the new ownership group is who signed off on that trade. But the irony with Nico is he gets fired, and then like 2 days later, we hear, oh yeah, Dallas is willing to trade Anthony Davis. So you're telling me you traded Luka for a rental of Anthony Davis for half a season before you trade Anthony Davis? If that's not the worst fucking trade in NBA history, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I mean, we knew what that was. We knew it was that at first.
That might be the worst.
Which one?
Kwame Brown for Pau Gasol.
Nah, this would be worse, because at least Pau was kind of underachieving in Memphis. He was an all-star, but he wasn't living up to like potential. Yeah. Luka just took you to the finals the year before. Luka was a top 5 MVP guy for the last 3 years. Like, you already saw what you had. No answer
for that, for why you would. Yeah. I can't justify that at all, Eric. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Please don't answer.
Yeah, that one is crazy. Shout out to Squeezy right here. He said, did y'all see Luka and Dunk get into it last night? LeBron was just standing there. It was so funny. Will, did you see that interaction? I believe this is the second time Chris Dunn and Luka then got into it, though.
Mm-hmm. Who was it?
Chris Dunn, Luka Doncic.
Oh, no, I didn't see that. What happened?
They had to be separated. They were shoving. But this happened before when Luka was in Dallas, and I believe Chris Dunn, was he in Phoenix at the time? I got to double check when they got into it before. But they have a history on the court anyway.
So, Chris Dunn.
Yeah.
From where he go to school?
Then he go to Providence.
That's funny.
He went to Providence.
That's funny.
Let's see. I think we got one.
I ain't heard his name since college.
Yeah, it's been a minute. We got one more NBA question, and we're gonna get to some NFL. Because like I said, we're only going for about an hour tonight. Shout out to everybody. Again, make sure you guys subscribe to the Sanchez Show and Real Fans Real Talk. We're streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Mondays at 7 p.m., Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Squeezy also wants to know Kenyon Martin and Draymond Green shit. You heard both sides. Kenyon says Marcellus Wiley asks who are tough guys, and Kmart didn't include Dre. So Dre attacks his career instead of the tough shit. Will, thoughts?
Yo, I got a lot of thoughts on this. So, okay, because I think we touched on it a little bit last week.
About this, yep, because that was after.
Was it on you guys? I can't remember if I told
you and I talked about it Wednesday because it was right after Draymond got into it with a fan, and Kenyon Martin came out and was like, "Oh, Draymond's a fake tough guy."
Yeah. And then they got into comparing each other's careers and statistics and all of that. And and then did you guys see when Kenyon Martin had the notebook It was going through the nose.
Well,
Yeah.
I will say this: a lot of the guys he named were better power forwards than Draymond Green.
Yeah.
But come on, bro, they just stop it with the Popeye Jones stuff. That was
No,
out of
that was hilarious. I loved that though. I'm petty, so I love that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But when you can, what's not fair, I'm a defend Kmart in this regard because when they put up resumes next to each other, they do not compare.
No.
But it's very unfair to Kenyon Martin, and let me tell you why. So on Draymond's resume, he got all these all-star appearances and defensive, he got those. When Kenyon Martin was in the NBA and was a power forward in the NBA, he was in like the golden era of power forwards.
That's a fact.
No, think about the power forwards that Kmart was going against compared to who Draymond's going against. So for
played a 5 in the 90s. I'm sorry.
Dude, like, all right, let's just name some of the people that played the same position as Kenyon Martin in the 90s. They were the all-time greats. Kevin Garnett. 2 for 1. A 2 for 1. Yeah. Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, Dirk, Sheed. It's so many guys. If you look at who Weber.
Chris Webber.
Was around at that time. Like
it was a ton of guys at power. It was the golden era of the position, you know. So it's, and then you look who. Now let's look at Draymond's era at power forward. Who we really talking about at power forward? Because actually, it's not even really a position. It's hardly a position now. So who we really talking about is as far as big versatile guys on the block that a Kenyon Martin would have had to face. AD,
who he can't do nothing with. Well, when he's at his peak. But let me see who else.
If we talking fours, it's tough because they label it positionless basketball now, and everybody's a stretch 5.
I guess you want to throw Giannis in there, but he's not even.
That's what I'm saying. Like
power forward.
I do agree with you on that though, Will. I don't think you can even compare the All-Star game appearances. Is not a fair argument. One, because that's completely a fan vote, especially during Kenyon Martin's era. That was a fan vote.
And there were so many guys that were legitimately better than Kmart.
It's so many guys, and even still consider, right, the way they used to do the voting before was guards, forwards, centers.
Yep.
Right. So let's say hypothetically, right, Kenyon Martin he spent half and half because he spent probably his best years in Jersey, and then he spent part of his career in the West. When you're talking forwards in the East, Paul Pierce was on that list, right? You're not getting all-star nods over Paul Pierce. You're not getting all-star nods on his own team. He wasn't getting all-star nods probably over Richard Jefferson. He wasn't getting all-star nods over a lot of guys at that time. So it's tough to compare like where you should have been as an all-star. So I agree with that 1,000%. I don't think that's a fair. If you're comparing the resumes, I don't think using all-star appearances is fair in either direction.
And the other part to that too is because of the success of Golden State, Draymond was going to make the All-Star team a lot more than the average third guy on the team would make.
That's why I say, but hold on, that's exactly why I say it's not fair to use that, because I'm gonna give you an example of a guy who was not an all-star but made an all-star because his team was good at the time, right? Remember that year when Detroit sent 4 guys to the All-Star game? Mm-hmm. They probably didn't deserve to have, like, Chauncey was probably the best all-around player. I don't think Rip Hamilton was really an all-star.
Rip, Ben Webb, and Tayshaun.
Tayshaun, right. Tayshaun definitely wasn't an all-star.
Yeah.
But the success of the team, and because it's a fan vote, allows you to get in. So Draymond benefited from that as well. We know that. I mean, the Warriors were the hottest ticket in the NBA for about 5 years.
And one more thing on that, Well, two more. One question for both of y'all. What year did Kmart come out? Was that like 98, 97?
Probably around that
I want
time.
to say 98 because the Nets went to the finals in 2001.
Okay.
Yeah, because
And then
Kenyon was
No,
there for like 2
he
years.
came in 2000.
2000.
Right.
Okay. Oh, that's
Right, and
even
then
better
yeah,
than.
because him
That's
and
even better.
Marbury played together for like a year and a half before the kid trade got kid there.
Yeah.
So that's
So
why I was using that example. Yeah.
I just did a little quick Google on my iPad on 2000s NBA power forwards, and I clicked on the link from fadeawayworld.net, and it brings up the guys we mentioned. You know, the Timmys, the Kevins, Dirk, Webbers, Powell. We forget guys like that was still in that pocket. Amari,
Mm-hmm.
Dog.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's
Dog.
what I'm saying. It's not, bro. It's not even. It's like I said. It's not, that part is not even a debate. It was
Yeah.
never fair. It was never Kenyon Martin
Debo.
in
Debo.
terms of like all stars. You can't. I don't think that's a fair. That's to me, for most guys, that's not a fair argument because the all star is a fan vote. It's a
Yeah.
popularity contest. How many?
But then,
Like right now, we could probably have this debate, right? Dame Lillard should have probably played in more All-Star games. But when you look out west and Harden and Curry and Westbrook and Chris Paul was getting all the votes, how many years Dame never went to the All-Star game?
exactly. Yeah.
And they all got winning records. So
Right. And Dame should have gone. So when it's all said and done, right? Like people gonna look at Dame and be like, yo, he was the top 75, but he don't have more All-Star appearances than this person or that person. Well,
And that's
because
and
look at the
now
West.
and they were trying to use it against them.
now under the new format, guys like Dame would have been making those teams.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
which is unfair. It's like they're really tilting history with the way that the changes that they're making. And now the last thing on my last point that I wanted to make to you guys with the which I thought was kind of funny on the Kmart and Draymond back and forth was the latest. And give or take 3 games, I can't remember exactly, but I've watched it. Kmart was on the arena, and he was talking about that how he was a reason that the Nets got to the championship.
That's not. He's exaggerating.
Not the reason. He said a reason, which he was though. Let's not front. He was part of the recipe.
Oh yeah, of course, he was
Sure.
a part of it.
He was averaging almost a double when they went to the finals.
Yeah. But what he did, he said, I always held my own, but I never rode coattails. And then he said, he did it because he had his notebook. Without Steph, Draymond's went like games that Steph Curry didn't play.
Oh yeah,
Draymond Green's record is 53-76.
That's why it's difficult to compare them because you're talking about a role player versus a main guy.
Well,
right.
no, I don't see. I don't view that. I think.
But I don't think Kmart was ever really a main guy. He was the number one pick, yes. But he was never really. But he was the number one pick in the way that you're supposed to be the last piece, but not the main guy. You know what I mean? Because they had dudes like that. That was a well constructed team in New Jersey.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. When they went to the finals, you look at the team. Right, Jason Kidd was the missing piece because they just needed somebody who can get the ball to all their guys. Richard Jefferson, Kerry Kittles, Kenyon Martin, like they had good pieces. And then Jason Kidd was right. Keith Van Horn. It's just like when Nash went to Phoenix and Phoenix got really good, right? They had Amari Stoudemire, they had Quentin Richardson, they had Shawn Marion, but they needed the point guard that can get everybody set up and get everybody's offense going. Kidd did the same thing in Jersey. The whole what's Dre's record without Steph? I mean,
I do kind of like that. I just do.
Hold on, so I think we could say that about 90% of the NBA whenever your best player is not on the court.
Yeah. But that it
right?
just adds
Like,
fuel to the fire of that he was
of course,
never the reason. You know,
but
it was
of
never.
course he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was. Of course he was never the reason. And any winning team, there's one main guy, and then everybody else is the Jacksons. That's life
Yeah.
in the NBA. We know that.
But the reason I'm with Kmart coming with stuff like this is because Kmart was never talking about stats and all that kind of stuff. He was talking about heart. He was talking about you never gonna be a dude that's gonna run up on somebody that you might have some problems with. You always gonna pick on the little guy. That's what he was saying. And then it turned into then he
To
turned
me,
in.
Kenyon Martin is moving the goalpost, though. To me, Kenyon Martin is moving the goalpost because his comment about Dre was never about heart. It was, oh, he a fake tough guy when he was arguing with a fan.
Well, the original thing was though that he just didn't name Draymond as a tough guy. That's how the whole thing started, though.
Yeah, that's how they hold back and forth. But I'm saying this latest incident, right? Kenyon Martin said, well, he's a fake tough guy, right? So my response to that, we talked about last week, was like, all right, so you want Draymond to crash out for the sake of what you think of him?
Right, and I was completely like, nah, what did you expect him to do? But I think like Trip just said, that was just like that was kindling. You know, that was just kindling for that fire. The fire was already there, and the fire was the Draymond
is not just about what are you gonna do though. It's also about who you choose to pick with.
But I think, but again, we could pick and choose that all the time because, all right, do y'all think Ron Artest was a tough guy?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
I do.
All right. Yeah. So then why did he crash out? Why did he crash out when Ben Wallace went at him?
When Ben Wallace went, why did he crash out? In the
Malice?
Yeah.
In the Malice?
And listen, I think
there was a lot going on that night though.
No, but hold on. But see, this
and brothers, I watched that live. You know, it's well documented.
Yeah,
that was one of the craziest nights of my life.
My thing is this, right? It's easy to pick and choose. We could pick and choose a bunch of guys who be like, oh, they wasn't a tough guy because of this incident, or they wasn't a tough guy because of that incident. We don't know what's said behind the scenes or situations where, somebody might already pulled you to the side, like, be aware this person will try to get you out of character tonight. So let it rock. And then there might be other situations where they catch you on the right night and they go at you, right? Chris Childs punched Kobe Bryant in the face. Does that make him the ultimate tough? Does that make him the ultimate tough guy, or did just Kobe catch him on the right night?
Well, I mean, I think any night he would have did that, he would have got.
No, but I'm saying there's a lot of things.
Chris Childs was not the tough guy. He gave him the 2-piece. And no biscuit. Like Kobe ate that. Kobe ate that.
I don't mean you won't fight though.
No, but my point is you can pick isolated incidents with anybody. Like I use the same thing with Kenyon Martin, right? Do I think Kenyon Martin was soft as a player? No, hell no, Kenyon wasn't soft. But I've also seen Tim Thomas go at him and then tell him, if you want to see me outside the arena, you can see me. Now, did Kenyon Martin probably want to get it on with him? Maybe. But they also might have been people like, don't take the bait, bro. Don't go down. You know what I'm saying? Don't do that. Just let it rock. And Kenyon Martin probably was like, all right, I'm not going to go back and forth with you. So to me, when we say, or like Kenyon Martin, right? He's picking and choosing what parts of Draymond you want to pick at. At the end of the day, if you want to say, we all can agree, was Draymond a complimentary player to Steph and Clay? Absolutely. You're talking about two of the greatest shooting guards ever. You're talking about arguably the greatest shooting backcourt ever. Was Draymond supposed to go out there and say, nah, let me go get 32? That's not your role, bro. Your role is to play defense and facilitate. But we can't minimize what Draymond did for that team because if Draymond don't make the sacrifice and say, you know what? I'm going to be the best defensive player I could be on this team. I'm going to be the rebounder. I'm going to be the guy who's willing to be the undersized defender. What made the Warriors special was when Draymond said, I'll play center as an undersized center, which allows us to keep all these shooters on the floor. We don't have to bring another big on the floor. And like I said on Monday's show as well, if we want to say, Draymond's career stats is this, that, and the third, yeah, that's a fact. We know the numbers ain't great for most of his career offensively. They was up 3-1. Draymond gets suspended. Most people will tell you that the reason they lost that series is because Draymond got suspended. If you look at Game 7, Kyrie is known for hitting the shot. Draymond probably had the best game of anybody on the floor. He went 31-12 in a game 7 against LeBron James. No disrespect to Kenyon Martin. Kenyon Martin shot himself in the foot when him and Nick Young was going at it, and he admitted, "Oh yeah, I shot 2 for 16 against Tim Duncan." Like how you comparing yourself? How you talking big shit about what you was for your team, but in a pivotal game 4 against Tim Duncan, you shot 2 for 16. Meanwhile, in a pivotal game 7, Draymond Green went for 30 points against LeBron while guarding LeBron.
Well, I don't think LeBron was guarding him for all them points, though.
No, I'm saying Draymond had assignments on LeBron in that game.
Oh, yeah.
So we could, again, the raw numbers, yeah, of course. Is Draymond's offensive numbers everything that we want from a Hall of Famer? Absolutely not. But we don't use that same example for Ben Wallace. We don't care that Ben Wallace's offensive numbers wasn't great. We say he played his role and he was a defensive anchor. Draymond, I'm not saying Draymond's the same defensive player that Ben Wallace was, but wasn't that Draymond's role on this team? Wasn't he the defensive anchor? Wasn't he the guy to do all the dirty work so that Steph and Klay could get as many open shots as possible? So now we're not prioritizing that anymore because now Kenyon Martin says, "Oh, we gotta the numbers are this, and you're not better." Like, come on, you gonna really throw Popeye Jones and Reggie Evans like they better than Draymond? Come on, bro. We watch basketball. We know them dudes is not better.
He was just trolling,
right? That's what I'm saying. Like, and I fuck with Kenyon Martin. It's not to say like, oh, he don't know what he's talking about, but we know you sat there and wasted your time writing on a piece of paper names that you know was not better than Draymond. You just named a bunch of dudes.
Yeah, but I still do think Draymond is a fake tough guy, though.
Yes,
I agree with everything you just said. But this whole premise of this thing started with Draymond being a fake tough guy, and I do believe he is a fake tough guy.
I honestly think, like I said, that label gets thrown around. Dudes ain't trying to fight on the court. So, like I said, what are we judging fake tough guys?
It's not even about fighting, though. It's just who you're having an issue with.
Right, but again, so what are we labeling as a tough guy?
Everybody look at Rudy Gobert as being soft.
Yeah, but what are we labeling? So then the ultimate tough guy is Isaiah Stewart, because every year that nigga get in a big ass fight on the court.
He is a tough guy. Yes.
But all right, but what I'm saying is, so are we labeling tough guys because you crash out like Isaiah Stewart? Are we labeling a tough, like was Dennis Rodman a tough guy?
Like Charles Oakley is a tough guy because he didn't give a F who it was.
But we can't even compare that era though. We can't. That's an era where niggas was fighting on the court and keep playing. That we can't even compare that era.
Yeah, but you gotta. That's why I said on Monday, like Draymond only go after Europeans and light skinned dudes. He don't mess with no real brothers. I'm sorry.
I think to me on the court, tough guy shit is all overrated because it's all bar. Niggas is not fighting. They know already. They already. It's almost like, right. You and your man. First of all these cats know each other. They not getting it on. So all it is exaggerated tough talk on the court.
There are
That's all it
certain guys that Draymond will pick with that we don't consider that we would think would not do anything to him. Like every European player that he's ever had issue with, Sabonis, Sengun in the playoffs.
My point is though, Trip, all these guys do that though. They pick and choose who they go at.
But we don't refer to all of these guys as tough guys either, though.
No, but to me, the whole tough guy conversation is overblown. There's no such real thing on the court. They pick and choose who they want to go at.
Yeah, but they not. He ain't going at Zach Randolph.
Zach Randolph been out the league like 15 years, bro.
He's not going at guys like that. That's really that.
So who's the tough guys in the league right now? Who's the tough guys in the league right now? Right, that's my point. That's my exact point. We trying to use a metric. We trying to use a metric that doesn't exist. Like, oh, this dude a fake tough guy. In comparison to who, bro? Like none of this shit is popping off.
Listen, because the culture now in the league with these youngins, ain't no goons left. Ain't no goons. Right. You know who they think is tough now? It's these fake dudes like Ja. This out here,
I'm saying,
taking pictures,
but it
ain't on the court. On the court, yeah, it ain't no goons for sure. But when you look at it, like just to put the Draymond thing to bed, pause. Draymond was a better role player. Kmart was better at everything else at basketball. I mean, and the way I always break it down, if they line up on the baseline, you picking, you at the park, who you want? You want Draymond or Kmart? And I know it's the NBA. I know it's the NBA, but when I say that is you doing all you got is measurable scores and what you see athleticism wise and what they can, and Draymond's not who you want in that situation. If you're talking about who's the better, if you building a basketball player, you building Kmart over Draymond. Roles are a big thing.
Honestly, I think in their situation, and there's one of the few times you can honestly say this. In their situation, it really depends on who else is on the team.
Yeah, because that dictates your role.
Because Kenyon Martin can't create his own shot.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That dictates your role. Neither can Draymond.
Right.
Neither can Draymond. Draymond can't create anything.
Exactly. No, that's not true. Draymond can't create for himself, but we see Draymond. No, hold on, Will.
No, I mean for him. That's what I'm talking about, for himself. Yeah, he's
right. So that's why I said this is a situation where it would really depend on who else is on their team. Because Kenyon Martin, his best years were with Jason Kidd setting up for him. Look at his numbers outside of Jason Kidd. He never had anything close to an all-star year. That's not to say that he wasn't a good player. He was truly a guy that needed to be set up. Draymond.
He was also dealing with injuries though too. After,
of course,
aside
from that, I'm just talking. We talking just skill. And to Will's point, right? If you line them up on the baseline, if you're telling me my point guard today is one of the elite point guards, right? And I could pick Kenyon Martin, yeah, of course, because his ability to roll to the rim, his ability to block shots, he's a better asset. But if you're telling me I'm in a situation where I got shooters on the floor, then maybe having Draymond is better because we know Draymond can play that facilitation role.
That's what I'm saying. It's about roles.
Right.
And also, and Ben Wallace was brought up. You know,
it's about Ben Wallace to judge Draymond because we've only seen him with Golden State, right?
Yeah.
Because if he's not in Golden State, and it's like Golden State is like his utopia. The perfect everything for someone like Draymond Green to have a highly successful Hall of Fame career. If we saw him in another place, would we get the same Draymond Green resume if he wasn't in that situation? And then on a flip side to that, is Kenyon Martin going to be the same Kenyon Martin wherever he's at?
That's what comes back to why Kmart brought up the record without Steph. Is to exactly what you're speaking on. If he wasn't in that situation, what would he be like? And that's why he's bringing up the record of what he was without Steph. And my last thing on this for sure is the Ben Wallace aspect of it. You know, because Ben was brought up, who was a grinder, who was a real tough guy, but his path was so different from a Kmart or from a Draymond. Ben Wallace was a dude was undrafted, that went to Virginia Union. I knew Ben Wallace when he played for this squad. I knew Ben Wallace. When I used to work and show my age when he was with the squad. Him and Darvin Ham, who is now a damn coach.
Yes.
Him and Darvin used to come to my job. I used to work in a store called Pants Plus in Landover Mall. We was the only store in the DMV that had Timberlands oversized 14. So. And it was, if you know the layout of the area, Landover Mall was a mile and a half from the Capitol Center, which is where the Bullets and the Wizards used to play. Ben Wallace, Rod Strickland, and Darvin Ham used to come in my store on if it wasn't every week, it was every 2 weeks to get a fresh pair of Timbs. And Ben was a good dude. He was like, nobody knew who he was, you know what I'm saying? He was just this big ass. Everybody thought he was a big African because that's what because in Landover there was a lot of Africans back then. But they were like, how's this African 6'10"? But he was just a quiet dude to play for the squad. But on that court, he was that dog. So what I'm trying to get at is his path was way different from a Draymond that was at Michigan State that played for Izzo. that was, you know what I'm saying, that was drafted. His path was way different from a Kmart. There was a national player of the year at Cincinnati in the number one pick. He got there the tough way. If we want to talk about tough guys, Ben Wallace was a tough guy because not only was he tough on the court and didn't take no ish from nobody, his path was tough. Yeah. So I just wanted to shout that out because Ben Wallace was brought up.
I'm taking Ben Wallace on both.
The reason I brought up Ben Wallace is because that's a prime example of nobody ever criticized the fact that Ben Wallace played his role well, right? It's treated like we praise Ben Wallace for that, for understanding, this is how I can be successful, and this is how I can help my team win, right? Outside of his years in Detroit, like you said, his Wizards years, his Orlando years, his Chicago years, none of those years are successful for him individually or as a team. But in Detroit, when he embraced that role of defensive anchor and true tough guy, right? He had his most success. We don't criticize that. We don't hold that against him.
They don't win those championships without Ben Wallace.
Absolutely not.
He did not have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, so that's why
it doesn't matter who he had, though.
It does matter. Because you're talking about criticism. I'm telling you the reason why they won't criticize Ben Wallace and they will criticize Draymond is because you have arguably the greatest point guard of all time, but definitely the greatest shooter of all time, and Klay Thompson there. They're not gonna. They won't criticize Ben Wallace the same way because of the teammates that he had around him.
So, but hold on. When Draymond was drafted in the second round to go to Golden State, did we consider Klay and Steph the greatest shooting backcourt?
No, but when he's
hold on. Roll with me for a second, though, right? Draymond comes out of Michigan State where he was successful in college. Mm-hmm. He's a second round pick, right? He is a guy who is going into a situation where he's trying to prove himself on the next level. We don't know that Steph and Klay are going to become what they ultimately became. Yet Draymond still embraced the role of this is what you need, this is what I'm going to do. So that's why I say it's easy to criticize Dre. And to your point, right? Oh, he has Steph, he has Klay, his path was easier. But it's not like he went there and they were already that.
No, but I'm just
into their role.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. You were just talking about criticism. I'm saying to you, this is why people will criticize Draymond more than they would criticize Ben Wallace.
But they shouldn't, is my point. They shouldn't criticize him because he had.
I'm not saying they shouldn't.
Right, he had the. No, I know, but I'm not saying you personally. I'm saying no. That to me, I don't understand when people criticize because it's like, we hype guys up who we want to embrace the role. Because we say it all the time in every sport.
Absolutely.
Right? We always say, somebody got to embrace. We talked about this recently with Bron now in LA, right? In order for the Lakers to really take that next step, Bron has to understand and embrace that Austin Reeves is taking his game to another level. Mm-hmm. So it's like we want guys to do that. Then when they do that, it's like we criticize, but your numbers ain't what they supposed to be. Like, nah, bro, he did what he was supposed to do for them to win. Simple as that. Let's get to some NFL talk, man. As always, guys, make sure you guys are subscribed to the Sanchez Show and Real Fans Real Talk. We're back on Monday nights, 7 p.m. YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, and as always, Wednesday nights at 7:30 p.m. You see the picks along the bottom of the screen. We're gonna do a couple of these NFL questions, and then we're gonna get into our 9-leg parlay. Fellas, last week we should have bet on a 9-leg parlay. It was terrible. It was terrible.
I wanna start out with my apologies to Trip Young. You had a leg last week that we thought was stanky. We thought you covered that bitch by 3 yards. And my apologies. What Jerome say? My apologies to you. Hey, your joint hit, man. I did not think that motherfucker was going to hit, but hey,
it's crazy.
I admit when I'm wrong. Because me and Eric was like, yo, wait. Because we were like, whoa, we ain't like that, joint. But yo, we was wrong, and I just want to give you a props. You hit that thing, Paul.
It was crazy. It was crazy because the Josh Allen joint literally came down to that final possession. And then on the flip side, you also had Derrick Henry 70 yards. That should have easily cleared. And for some reason in the fourth quarter, they stopped giving the ball to Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
So, but overall, we were terrible last week. The only 3 things from our 9-leg parlay hit last week. James Cook, anytime touchdown. Josh Allen, 250 yards. And the Jahmyr Gibbs, anytime touchdown. Everything else.
Damn.
Yeah, nothing else. Nothing else.
See, I should have stuck with my Appalachian State. Getting the points against Marshall. Cause that hit.
Listen,
you be picking these college games and don't nobody be who be watching these games.
Dude, remember where I live, man. I'm in the Mid Ohio Valley. I'm in the Mid Ohio Valley, so I'm tuned into these, you know what I'm saying, these obscure Division III college games.
Now it makes sense. Who watches Appalachian State, bro?
Hey, remember? See, people forget Appalachian State beat Michigan like 12 years ago. It was in the big house.
To start the season. Yep.
Remember that?
Yep. To start the season. All right. Let's do this. Let's go through some of the football questions, and then we're gonna get the 9-leg parlay going. Let's start with the first comment of the night from Kyrie. The Chiefs defeated the Colts. They get the 6-5. Biggest reason the Chiefs won. I said this on Monday. Shane Steichen got too conservative. The Colts had 4 straight 3-and-outs to end that game. What's going on, Princess?
Hi.
Get out of here. Get out.
Hi.
Say happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your break.
My bad, guys.
Nah, you good. You good. Shane Steichen got too conservative. Colts, as I mentioned, had 4 3-and-outs to end that game. The Chiefs relied on their running game and they played keep away. That's been my biggest fear with the Colts, that if a team plays keep away, could they generate enough offense? So we saw the issue last week. I'm not too down on the Colts because, again, the Colts, in their 3 losses this year, they've all been 1-possession games. This was an overtime loss. Keep in mind, the Colts have been on the road for their last 3 games. But this was a missed opportunity. To me, the Chiefs really won because Shane Steichen got too conservative. Kyrie also said, how seriously should we take the Bears? 8-3 Bears. They got the Eagles this week. We talked about this on Monday. I know Will had put the comment up where he said it's kind of fool's gold. I think none of us think they're a Super Bowl contender. It's a good season for them. I think they'll hang tough with Philly just because Philly's continue to struggle in the second half of all these games. But in terms of how seriously should we take them, I mean, they'll make the playoffs. They may get a playoff win depending on who the matchup is, but they're not a Super Bowl contender. Yeah, agree? Disagree? Agree?
Oh no, I thought I was muted still. My bad. Nah, I'm not feeling them for real. I'm just not.
Okay. Sweezy wants to know biggest story: Eagles collapse or Cowboys comeback? Trip, what do you think?
Cowboys comeback is the biggest story. Because I mean, what was it? How many was it down by? 20
down 21.
21. For a team that's trying to hang in there and is finally having somewhat of a run defense now, with the addition of Quentin Williams, and I think they've gotten a lot better. But again, this is a team that is expected to be in a Super Bowl. I'm talking about Philadelphia, not Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that the Cowboys comeback was the biggest story.
What you think, Will?
I think I'm gonna go opposite and say the collapse is the biggest story because you're the Super Bowl champion. Mm-hmm. You're playing a team that you're supposed to be better than on both sides of the ball. You were up convincingly, and you fell asleep at the wheel. And this is not a game where you're just supposed to be like, oh, this is not a gimme. This is a division game on the road that you had in hand. Yeah. Like, and you're clearly not the team that we saw last season. At least thus far, we're not seeing the same team. And you had that game in your hands and you gave it away. That's not like, I think that's the biggest story because Dallas is going to be Dallas. This is just going to be one. This is going to be one of those wins that they point to when they're not doing anything. If they don't even make the playoffs, or if they do make the playoffs and get bounced in the first round, this will be one of those games that loser Cowboys fans like to point to and say, "Well, but remember week so we beat the Eagles, we came back." That'll be their what they hang their hat on. So I think for me, the biggest situation is that they gave that win up. That was a win, and they handed it back. They handed it right back to them.
You think the Eagles' offense is clearly better than the Cowboys' offense? Because I don't know about that because they got about to have 2,000-yard receivers this year. Javonte Williams is having a better year than Saquon Barkley, and Dak is having a better year than Jalen Hurts. The only place I think on the offense edge is the offensive line.
You're right, but who do I trust more is what it comes down to for me.
Playoffs, yeah.
That's what it comes down to for me is who I trust more. Because it's like I can say the same thing like about the Bengals offense or something, you know what I mean? But who do I trust more? You know?
No, I agree with that. I think to me, the biggest story here is the Cowboys comeback. And the reason I'm not going to say it's the Eagles collapse is because the Eagles have had multiple collapses this year. This is becoming a reoccurring theme with them. And this didn't just start in this game. You look back to opening night, they had 21 points in the first half against the Cowboys. They only scored 3 points the rest of the game. You look at their game against the Broncos that they were winning. They didn't score in the second half of that game. You look at their game against Tampa when they was up 3 touchdowns and then somehow Tampa had a chance to tie that game late in the third quarter. You look at the Eagles games, even the 2 wins they've had prior to this Cowboy game, right, where they scored 10 points against Green Bay and 16 points against Detroit, and they had to hold on late to win those games. This offense is stale. And that's why I don't think this is about the Eagles collapse, because I think this is who the Eagles are at this point in the season, and I think this is who they're going to be for the rest of the year. I don't think they can be trusted with the lead. The defense is good, but in situations where they play good quarterbacks, the other team is going to have a chance to come back on them just because their offense is so stale. There's no creativity to their offense, and I'm starting to believe that Nick Sirianni and what they're drawing up week to week is really a 30 to 40 play game plan. And once he gets outside of that, or once they get beyond those 40 plays, they just don't seem to know what to do with their offense. It showed again this week. A.J. Brown was featured in the first half of the game. What happened to A.J. Brown in the second half of that game? Why isn't A.J. Brown getting more catches? We've talked all year about the Cowboys secondary, and how many times we've said this year, oh, you take the over against the Cowboys. That's easy because everybody can move the ball against the Cowboys. And yet somehow the Eagles score 21 points in the first half and then can't score again in the second half of that game. So, and to your point, Will, Cowboys fans probably are going to hang their hat on that. But that's what you do against a division rival, right? You get excited that you beat a division rival. So if this becomes kind of like the point of the season where they get hot, we'll see on tomorrow against the Chiefs if they can kind of continue that momentum. If they get hot, then we'll look back on it and be like, hey, that might have been the game that changed their season. If nothing happens the rest of the year, then we'll be like, hey, they was just feisty for most of the season. I do think, though, after tomorrow night, either we're going to look at the Cowboys and say, hey, look, they're getting hot and they might be a little dangerous because, as Tripp said, that offense is really good. Or if they have the letdown tomorrow, their season might be over. So tomorrow might be their season against the Chiefs because they can only, from what I saw mathematically, they can only afford to probably lose one more game the rest of the season. If they lose tomorrow, I don't think they run the table after that
game. Who'd y'all take?
I'm taking the points with the Cowboys. They're getting 3.5 points. I'm taking the points.
No, I'm just saying, but who you picking to win the game though?
I'm gonna lean towards the Chiefs. I just think they're more balanced. They're better coached. But in terms of points,
I think I took Dallas.
You did take Dallas.
I like them at home on Thanksgiving. That's all that was.
Yeah, I think so. There's an interesting stat, and we're gonna see how this affects tomorrow because 2 teams could be affected by this. I think over the last 3 years, teams that have had to play an overtime game on Sunday and then had to play on Thursday, the number over the last 2 to 3 years is something like they're 6-23. The Chiefs played overtime on Sunday. The Lions played overtime on Sunday. The Lions, to me, is at a way bigger disadvantage because not only is it a short week, they got the 1 o'clock game, which is I know for the Lions, that's normal, but that's a very odd start time for a team that just had to play Sunday. Now you come back Thursday, you got to play at 1 o'clock. So the Lions, we'll see if that affects them. But it is something like 6-23 for teams that have had to play an overtime game Sunday and then come back on Thursday and play. Let's see what else we got. Biggest takeaway from Shedeur's start. Tripp and I kind of talked about this on Monday. Will, I'm going to let you go first.
Stefanski's got to go. It's the first takeaway from it. What were you doing all year? What were you doing all year? not giving this dude the opportunity to even practice. You got to go. That's my first takeaway. Second takeaway is like we talked about it last week. You saw the electricity within the team with like their reaction to plays being made, the energy. Remember, I talked about the energy that was going to be there now, and like everybody was going to say it was the Raiders. The 10 sacks, woo! To go out there and perform the way that they did, and the reaction from the players, not Stefanski. Let's not talk about Stefanski's reaction, but the reaction from the players lets you know this dude. This is what he's for. Like he said before the game, he said, "I'm who you've been looking for." But and so Stefanski had no choice but to start him. You know what I'm saying, going forward.
Well, it would look too crazy if he didn't at that
point.
Yeah,
for sure. And it's like, come on. At this point, you gotta play the kid, you know, because you're not going anywhere. So why wouldn't it would be organizational malpractice to not at least see what you got out of him? Because we already seen what Dillon Gabriel is, and he is not an NFL quarterback. Dude's 5'9". He's 5. Like he might be a decent quarterback coach down the road or something like that, but he's not an NFL quarterback. Shador, I saw a stat. He had three passes over 20 yards or something like that in the game.
Yeah.
Where for the whole season they had one.
I talked about this on Monday. In Dillon Gabriel's 6 starts, he had 2 passes over 20 yards that were completed. He had a 25-yard pass and a 26-yard pass. Shador last week alone had 66, a 52, and a 39-yard pass completed.
Fair enough. The 66 was a screen. Fair enough, but still it counts. It still counts.
But even if you go to the week before, right, when he comes in late in that game against Baltimore, he completes a pass for 25 yards. He was trying to push the ball down the field. It's something that Dillon Gabriel just can't do.
Yeah.
And Shador can clearly do it. He whether it's him extending the play and getting the ball down the field, whether it's just the attempts itself. Dillon Gabriel is a dink and dunk quarterback, where Shador is a legitimate quarterback who can read a defense and say, I can exploit certain matchups to get the ball down the field. So to your point, right, to your point, Will, there was definitely a level of excitement because you saw the reaction from Myles Garrett on the sideline when he completes that 52-yard pass down the field. You can see the level of excitement from the fans. I also think just Shador's understanding of just reading defenses is different. Dillon Gabriel never looks comfortable in the pocket. Everything looks like it's forced. Everything looks like I don't know where to go with the ball right here. Where Shador looked decisive in a lot of his throws. He looked like he understood what the defense was trying to do. Granted, he's a rookie. There's times where he holds the ball too long, but I think every rookie does that. Every rookie's trying to make a great play and they hold on to the ball too long.
Mm-hmm.
But for a guy where you look at, they didn't get much of a running game because I think they only ran for 67 yards as a team. So they didn't have a lot of rushing. Shador had to make the plays for them to win and their defense cleaned things up for him. I think Stefanski's going to lose his job regardless. I don't think it could be saved at this point because if Shador looks great the rest of the season, people are going to be like, well, why didn't we start Shador sooner? Even if Shador struggles, the conversation is still going to be
why did you draft Gabriel?
Right.
And
even if Shador is up and down the rest of the season, people are still going to say, well, what could have been if you would have given him the reps sooner and allowed him to play sooner? Maybe he would have been more comfortable with the offense this part of the season. He wouldn't be just now getting the opportunity to practice with the one. So I think Stefanski kind of wrote his own ticket out.
Look better than Gabriel.
Yeah.
So,
but again, they did not. When I say they, we know who. Kevin Stefanski did not want to give him the opportunity. So I think Shador was good. This is going to be a good test against the 49ers. 49ers are a much better team than the Raiders, but the 49ers defense is really banged up as well. So there's another opportunity. Shador might go out there and throw for another 200-plus yards again this week. And, if they get a win, then
this week to actually win that game.
You got the Browns. Will, I believe, has the Browns as well.
Yeah.
And I have I'm taking the points with the Browns. They're getting 4.5 points. I think that defense
Browns
really
defense
good.
is crazy.
Yeah, the defense is really good.
Shout out to Myles Garrett.
He's going to break the sack record. I think he needs 6 sacks in his last 5 games to break the record.
Yeah. The record's 20? No, not even that many. I think the record's 22 and a half.
Yeah, but
And he's got 18.
5 sacks. So he needs 5 sacks. Yeah,
He got 18. And what's crazy? Did y'all see on the broadcast for Fox last week with Strahan? They were doing they did the Browns highlights, right? It was like when they recap all the games for the day. He looked dead in the camera, like he went straight with the A. And he said, sack record. It was nice owning you.
He had it for a long time. I ain't mad at it.
He's had it for a while. Yeah, he's had it for a while. Kyrie
and that was controversial.
Yeah,
the Brett Favre laydown.
Nah, we're not.
Whether it was or not, he got the record.
Brett Favre laid. Let's stop.
Whether he did or not, he got the record.
Whether he did or not,
he was going to get him anyway.
He got the record, but he did.
Hold on.
They can both be true. They can both be true.
Hold on. No, of course. But that's what I'm saying. He got the record. They both can be true because Brett Favre, did he lay down he rolls out, he sees Strahan, he slides down as opposed to taking a big hit. How many years did Brady and Manning do that to avoid taking a big hit?
Yeah.
Plenty of quarterbacks do it.
He was going to catch him no matter what.
He was going to take a hit.
So it wasn't like he wasn't good, like he just magically wasn't on the field.
Mark Gastineau was only mad about that because that was the only thing that was keeping Mark Gastineau relevant to the current NFL.
I know
that he had the sack record. That's what was keeping him relevant, and Mark Gastineau didn't like that. Kyrie wants to know: are the Rams far and away the best team in the NFL? I wouldn't say far and away. I think they're the best team in the NFC. But matchups and styles make fights. So I'm not going to say far and away means that there's nobody even close to them, and that's not true. I think they're the best team in the NFC, but there's competition.
I think it's clear that they're the best team in the NFC right now.
Right.
It may change, but as of right now,
we still got a couple weeks left.
Yeah.
We got a couple weeks left. Let's see what else we got. Do we have any? Ron wants to know: can Tampa win the NFC South? Absolutely. Carolina can't be trusted at this point.
No, without Baker.
He'll be back.
Baker's probably going to go. Baker's going to play.
Oh, he's playing this week.
Yeah, he's going to play.
Oh well, I need to change my pick because Did I take the Bucks?
Let me look. What you got.
I thought Baker was out.
No,
Baker's playing.
So you want to change?
You know what? I'm gonna leave. No, I'm gonna leave it.
Listen. The only real threat at this point, that only team that can bump Tampa from the division is the Panthers, and I don't trust the Panthers. So I'm gonna say Tampa. Yeah.
You know what? I'm changing that pick.
Got you.
Because I thought Baker was out.
Wait, Eric, did you ever tally up the total for the season?
I got it on another sheet. I've been keeping them though. I got them on. I just got to tally them up for the last couple of weeks. I think I tallied up until like week 9, week 10, something there. I got to check from there. Let's see what other NFL ones in this see. Do the Eagles have an identity crisis? That was Squeezy that said that. Yeah, I think we all acknowledge that they have an identity crisis. They just don't look the same. Let's see. Do we have any other football ones?
You're not.
Nah. All right, let's go. Let's get into the 9-leg parlay, and then we're gonna wrap up for the night. Again, shout out to everybody on Instagram that locked in with us. Shout out to everybody on YouTube and Facebook.
Did you put up that Kyrie comment about Luka?
Hold on. Oh yeah, this was one of the last ones came. I just want to say Luka's a bad boy. I didn't expect this. He is destroying the NBA right now. If not for SGA and Joker, he is the MVP. I mean, this is what Luka's been for the last couple of years. I don't think we should be surprised. And from what we could tell, he came in the best shape that he's been in his NBA career as well.
The reason I asked you to pull that comment up, though, is because we had this discussion at the beginning of the season, and they asked us who we thought was going to be the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
And I said Luka. And then he came out and he ain't disappoint.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. I think we all thought Luka was nasty. We knew that already.
But doing what he's doing now, is just crazy. And for the Lakers to be in second place,
I think that's the more surprising part. We didn't expect the Lakers to get off to this hot of a start, but I'm not surprised by anything that Luka does at this point.
You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't be surprised because this Luka, like, he literally just came over taking the team to the finals. Like,
but even when he took them to the finals, they wasn't like a top 4 team in the West. Like what they're doing right now with the Lakers and competing for best record, I mean, they're not close enough to OKC. But I'm saying in terms of right, ain't nobody competing with that. But I'm saying in terms of like where they're at record wise, that's probably the most surprising part. I don't think that if anybody say they surprised that Luka's having an MVP caliber season, and you just never watched Luka play.
Oh, yeah, no.
We all knew Luka was an MVP caliber player. I just think the record of the Lakers is the more surprising thing. All right, we got picks across the bottom of the screen. Will, you got your plays for the 9-leg parlay?
Yes, sir.
All right. You want to start or you want Trip to start?
I can go in there.
Pause.
I got pause. So I'm gonna keep it all gobble. Oh, pause. Thanksgiving.
Jeez. Oh my goodness, brother.
Whoa.
You're on a roll, boy.
Yo, that's how I used to back in the day. That's why I used to think, like, you know how that's the sound turkeys make, gentlemen.
Yes.
I'm not trying to.
We're gonna call this the 3-plate parlay. Because Thanksgiving ain't Thanksgiving unless you have about three. Unless you have about 3 plates.
Let's do that. That cleans it up.
3-plate parlay.
This got my mama mac and cheese on it, man. This was going to carry. So I'm gonna keep it all Thanksgiving games. You know what I'm saying? So we got a lot going on in the weekend. We ain't trying to track everything. We gonna get it all done tomorrow on my 3.
I got 2 Thanksgiving days games as well, and Trip has 1 Thanksgiving game. So we got 6 of the 9. We might know right away.
All right, so I might ruin y'all's parlay for the weekend.
No. Let's go. Come on. Let's go.
So it's all plus money. You know how I do. First leg. That first leg gonna be I got Mark Andrews anytime touchdown plus 100. Guess that.
Wait, who you said Mark Andrews for a touchdown?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anytime touch Mark Andrews for plus 100. Then I got in the Cowboys Chiefs game. I got Xavier Worthy. 4 catches plus 112. And then in the this is all FanDuel numbers. And then the
touchdown, and then 4+ receptions for Worthy.
And then I got for the Green Bay Detroit game, anytime touchdown Christian Watson plus 200.
Christian Watson anytime.
That's what I'm rocking with. I was trying to go with the straight Thanksgiving Day joints, just to get it out the way. If it ain't gonna hit, it ain't gonna hit. Or it can anchor the whole joint. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on. So Mark Andrews anytime, Xavier Worthy over 3.5 catches, and Christian Watson touchdown. Trip, and then Trip, go ahead, read off yours.
Well,
I'm actually putting this in the FanDuel as we speak, so that way we can know what the total looks like.
Wait, that 3.5, did that give you plus 112? Because I picked it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Plus
cool.
112. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, you know, Mark Andrews, his touchdown numbers this season ain't looking like they like I would like. That's not bad, but I'm just nervous about that one.
Bengals.
You said what? The Bengals for the win?
No, Bengals defense is why I'm good with Andrews.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right. All right. So I got this week. I got 70 yards rushing from O'Shane. I got. I'm taking the Lions -3, and Taylor for a touchdown.
And Jonathan Taylor for a touchdown. I'm gonna add that in there with my 3. That way we could try to see exactly what this looks like. The first 8 legs already is on here. Let's see if they got Jonathan Taylor's numbers for anytime touchdown. They at home against the Texans this week. Yeah, they got it up here. All right. I got the numbers for y'all, man. These are my three, and then I'm going to let y'all know what the total will be on our ticket. My three are, two of them are tomorrow. One of them is Sunday, but all three are plus money. So the first thing I like is David Montgomery anytime touchdown tomorrow for the Lions.
Okay.
That's a plus 135. Everybody is on the Gibbs train. We took Gibbs last week. He did cash on the anytime touchdown. I feel like because of how this game is going to get played, you look back at week one game, and both teams are a little desperate because the winner of this game probably going to win the division. I expect this to be a little bit more of a grounded out game. So I expect Dan Campbell to rely on the power of Montgomery, especially in the goal line situations. I like Montgomery to get an anytime touchdown. I thought about Worthy, so I like that you actually put him on there, Will, because I thought about him, but I went in a different direction. Rashee Rice is dealing with the hamstring issue, so the passing is going to get spread out a little bit. Hollywood Brown to have 25 yards receiving is plus 136. I actually like that a lot. He's going to be elevated to wide receiver number 2, Worthy to be 1. And like I said, with Rashee Rice hamstring issues, and because the Cowboys sit in a lot of zone, expect there to be some opportunities for Hollywood Brown, I think. And I like that because he could get that on one catch. That doesn't have to be over the course of the game. That could just be one play. He breaks 25 yards and we get that. Mm-hmm. And then my upset pick of Sunday, I really like this upset pick. And it's only an upset because of where the line is at. But I think due to the weather and due to the team they're playing, Jets money line is plus 128. I don't think the Falcons are good. You got Kirk Cousins on the road. It's supposed to be raining in New York. No Drake London. They're missing 3 guys on their offensive line. The Jets actually look better with Tyrod Taylor last week. I actually like the Jets money line this week. So those are my 3. So as we stand,
what's the Jets money line?
Plus 128.
Okay.
If we do the 9 things we talked about, $10 would get you back $5,453.
What
now,
I got your 3. What was Tripp's 3?
Tripp has Achane for 70 yards rushing. Miami
Achane 70.
He got the Lions -3, and he got Jonathan Taylor anytime touchdown. Now,
and the Giants -3?
Lions -3.
Oh, the Lions -3. Okay.
Yeah. Tripp, would you be willing, because the Lions one to me is tricky. I like the Lions. Would you be all right with doing Lions money line as opposed to the 3?
Yeah, that's fine.
Or do you feel they're gonna dominate that game and cover that?
I mean, I felt that they was gonna cover it, but I mean, if y'all want to take a money line on the parlay, that's fine.
Because I really feel like this might be one of them games where they win like 21-20.
All right, so then put a money line.
So we doing line straight up?
Yeah, I'm thinking we should do line straight up.
Just because it's Green Bay.
It's a division rival. It's a short week for Detroit. Remember what I said to y'all? Detroit just played that overtime game. Yeah. Now they got a short week. They got the 1 o'clock. Because my concern is if they start off slow and then they win this game late, they might not cover the 3. 3 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you consider divisional opponents,
yeah,
it could easily be 23-21 and they just don't cover, but they win.
Plus, Josh Jacobs is just coming back.
Josh Jacobs is coming back. Yep.
And that's that kind of injury on a short week. He could get hurt in the first half.
So, all right. So we're gonna switch the lines to money line as opposed to the -3.
Okay.
Anything else we said tonight, y'all, that y'all want to check on?
I'm a little nervous about the Montgomery because he hasn't scored a touchdown in like 3 weeks, but and he only scored 1 in his last 6 games. But he is an Eagle Scout, so I'm gonna let you rock on that one.
Like I said, I like it because I know that for Detroit to win this game, they got to play a little bit more physical. Gibbs is going to get all the attention. So I think anytime they get in the red zone
situations, they're going to give it to Montgomery.
I think
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
What the fuck is this? So yeah, that's what I think. That's how I see it playing out for them.
The only other, if I would it. The only one I was thinking about taking out was, and it wasn't the Andrews joint because the Bengals defense is so trash. I was worried about Christian Watson anytime.
I was gonna ask you because Green Bay, it's tough to tell which receiver they featuring from week to week.
Yeah, yeah. But if I'm not doing that, I'm doing Michigan covering 10.5 against
Michigan
Ohio
got this
State.
Okay.
Damn, that's
Ohio
a rivalry game though. 10 points, a lot of points in a rivalry game.
That's why I'm covering Michigan. I got Michigan covering that.
Yeah.
O State's 10.5 point favorites.
They in Michigan?
At Michigan.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that's yeah, that's actually it's minus 118.
What do you think about? There was a receiving prop I was looking at in that Ravens game. They got what was it? So T. Higgins is not playing this week.
Okay.
They got plus money on Chase Brown to have 4 catches.
I like that.
This is my thinking on it. I expect the Ravens to be winning most of that game without T. Higgins.
Are they trying out?
To catch a couple dump offs. 4 catches ain't a lot, especially when you're losing most of the game.
Let me pull this game up. Are they playing Burrow?
Yeah.
They're so dumb.
They are.
They're so dumb.
Yeah, they I mean,
and there's another reason why I like Chase Brown over 3 catches. This is last 3 weeks. He had 8 catches against the Bears. He had 6 catches against Pittsburgh. He had 2 catches against New England last week. But he's getting targets. He's getting a lot of targets, bro.
So he dump off the game.
Yeah, we're talking 16 catches over the last 3 weeks for the running back.
So what's that? What were you saying? Plus 4?
If over 3.5 catches, so basically 4 catches is plus 114.
I like that.
That's another one I was looking at too.
Send the parlay, put it down.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, good defense, Ant.
All right, so let's decide on the 9 we want to go with right now.
I'm gonna go Michigan to cover.
All right, so we're gonna take Christian Watson off.
Yeah. He talked me out of that one.
Michigan plus 10.5. Mark Andrews anytime and Worthy 4 catches, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's good. That's gonna be my 3.
All right, so let me take Christian Watson over. Let's see what the sticker looks like because we should be able to get Michigan right now. What time they play on Saturday?
Michigan. Hold up.
Is that the late game?
I got
it. They play at 12 o'clock.
Oh, it's a noon tip. All
right. So if we switch in Detroit to the money line as opposed to the 3.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna go Hollywood Brown 25 yards receiving, Xavier Worthy 4 catches, David Montgomery anytime scorer, Detroit Lions money line, Jets money line, or should we take Jets out and put the Chase Brown catches in there?
Yes.
So take Jets out and then put all right. So let me go back to that. We're gonna figure this out right now. I'm gonna put my 10 on this right now before the odds shift.
Hey, when you get your ticket in, send me a screenshot of that joint and I'll just put it in the same one.
Got you. All right, here we go. So Hollywood Brown 25 yards, Xavier Worthy 4 catches, David Montgomery, anytime score. Detroit Lions, money line. Mark Andrews, anytime score. Chase Brown, 4 catches. Devin Achin, 70 yards. Jonathan Taylor, anytime touchdown. Michigan Wolverines, plus 10.5. If we put $10 on that, you get back $2,295.19.
I'll take it.
We good? We like it?
Absolutely.
Lock it in. Send it out,
All
Eric.
right.
That'll get a
There we
couple
go.
Christmas gifts.
There we go. Guys, give me your final thoughts before we wrap up. Go ahead, Will.
Man, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope you all, can spend it with your family, get your grub on. You know what I mean? I hope nobody's working tomorrow. I know it depends on the industry you're in, but I hope you can enjoy your time with your families. Eat too much, watch too much football. You know what I'm saying? We get this one day of the year to be gluttonous, I guess, and enjoy it. We got a lot of football going on. We got some hoops tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I'm saying. Have it in the background. Keep the volume down if you want. Talk to the family and friends, but keep that corner that corner of your eye on the screen. We hopefully you can get paid to make up for some of the expenses for the traveling and all that you're doing this weekend and all. But happy holidays to everybody. I don't care what you represent, what your religion is and all that. It's all love, man. Love to Eric, Trip, brother. It's always brotherhood, and you know what I'm saying. Let's keep this thing going, man. Happy holidays, folks.
Trip.
Man, happy Thanksgiving. And shout out to my brothers, Will Gordon and Eric Sanchez, man, because y'all wanted to put in that work for the supporters tonight, and that's what we do. So shout out to y'all, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's a fact, man. As always, man, I'm thankful for my brothers. I'm glad we're able to get together every week, kind of, shoot the shit the way we do, laugh, joke, debate. It's always a great time. Happy Thanksgiving to all the supporters, man. You guys could be anywhere in the world, but y'all rock with us. And it's dope that y'all tune in with us twice a week. And y'all have incorporated us into y'all families, man. We've heard, Pooh and Amani talk about their dads watching us and all that type of stuff. So I think that's super ill, man. Everybody enjoy your holiday, enjoy your time with your family. Kick back, like Will said, chill, enjoy the games, and more importantly, enjoy the time with your family, man. But for my brothers, Will Gordon, for my brother Trip Young, I am Eric Sanchez. This was the Sanchez Show. Make sure you guys subscribe, and we will see you on Monday, 7 p.m. We out of here, man.
Yes, sir. Peace.